Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're taking a fascinating look at the fast-paced, remarkably high-stakes game of Coin Frenzy. We're going to break down the entire game using nothing but its core rules, mechanics that are elegant in their simplicity, but honestly, completely ruthless in practice.
Okay, let's dive into this. Are you ready for Coin Frenzy? On the surface, this looks like a basic game of chance, right? You flip some coins, you see how they land, and somebody wins. But the moment we actually unpack the rules, you'll realize it's a psychological battleground of risk, reward, and rapid economic inflation. It's just wonderfully deceptive.
So every great game starts with inventory. To even sit at this table, you need exactly 20 coins. But they serve two very different purposes. Step 1, you must bring 15 quarters dedicated entirely to betting. This is your lifeblood, your bankroll, your entire economy for the game. Step 2, you need 5 specific quarters reserved purely for flipping. That separation is absolutely key. You aren't betting the coins you flip, you're risking your 15-coin economy based on what those 5 flipping coins do. It creates a really clear boundary between your tools and your treasure.
Now you might be wondering, how do you actually win this thing? Well, it's super simple. The most heads win the round. You take your 5 flipping coins, you toss them, and you count the heads. The highest number takes the pot. It's competitive, it's incredibly fast, and everyone instantly knows exactly where they stand the second those coins hit the table. There are no complicated point systems or convoluted scoring phases here, just pure, immediate gratification.
But what happens at the extreme ends of the probability spectrum? And this brilliantly illustrates the two wild extremes you can hit. On the left side, we have absolute perfection, the overdog rule. And on the right, absolute disaster, the pity rule. The game designers specifically carved out special rules for the rarest statistical outcomes, getting all 5 heads or all 5 tails. It perfectly visualizes the emotional highs and lows you can experience in a single, fleeting flip. Let's look a little closer at what actually goes down when you hit these extremes.
So when you achieve the ultimate flip, boom, 5 heads, you trigger the overdog rule. The outcome is perfection, and the reward is an immediate, mandatory tax on the entire table. Every single competing player has to hand you 1 quarter directly from their betting stash. You don't just win the round's pot, you actively and forcefully drain the economy of your competitors. It is a massive swing in momentum that can completely alter the power dynamic of the game in literally a matter of seconds.
On the flip side, pun intended, what happens if you have the absolute worst luck imaginable? 5 tails. Well, instead of punishing you for your terrible fortune, the game actually offers a merciful safety net through the pity rule. The reward for this statistical disaster is simply getting your ante back. You don't win the round, obviously, but you get to walk away with your dignity and your initial investment intact. It's a nice little psychological cushion placed right at the absolute bottom of the barrel so you don't have to endure total humiliation just because gravity hated you for 1 round.
So the crucial point is 3. Just 3. 3 quarters is your starting ante, or ante, for every single game. At the very beginning, with a 15-quarter betting stash sitting in front of you, risking 3 quarters feels incredibly manageable, right? It's just a tiny fraction of your wealth. But do not let this small number fool you. This 3 is deeply deceptive. It's really just the calm before the storm.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because this is where Coin Frenzy turns into an absolute economic pressure cooker. The ante rule dictates that the buy-in doubles every single time a player gets eliminated. You start at 3. The moment someone gets knocked out, the ante jumps to 6. Another player bites the dust, suddenly it's 12. And remember, you only started with 15. This exponential growth violently accelerates the game, forcing all remaining players into these high-stakes, all-or-nothing situations incredibly fast.
And that brings us to the harshest, most brutal reality of the table. When you run out of coins, you lose. There are no loans here, there are no second chances. There is no coming back from the brink. That escalating ante we just talked about? Yeah, it's designed to systematically and mercilessly drain your reserves. Once your betting stash hits 0, your game is completely over. It's a binary elimination. You're either solvent or you're out.
So, you've got your 20 coins, you know the straightforward win condition, the extreme edge cases, the terrifyingly escalating ante, and the absolute finality of losing. Is that everything? Take a moment to think about the rigid structure we've explored so far. It seems airtight, right? Mathematical, fair. But there is one final note hidden in the source material that completely upends everything we've just discussed.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer, unadulterated chaos hidden in the rules. You can change the rules anytime. This single sentence fundamentally alters the entire nature of Coin Frenzy. It takes a rigidly structured economic game and turns it into a fluid, unpredictable social experiment. Want to make the ante triple instead of double? Change it. Actually, scratch that. Want to invent a brand new payout for 3 heads and 2 tails? Just do it. The core rules we just learned are merely a fragile starting point, a temporary social contract just waiting to be rewritten by whoever has the influence to push a change through.
Which leaves us with this final burning question to close out this explainer. If the rules can change literally any time, who is really in control of the frenzy? Is it the player with the most coins, the player with the absolute best luck, or simply the player with the most persuasive voice at the table? Coin Frenzy isn't just about flipping metal. It's about navigating a shifting landscape of risk, reward, and human negotiation. I highly encourage you to grab 20 quarters, gather your friends, and find out exactly who holds the power at your table. Thanks for learning with me today.